Welcome in. I'm the one that was emailing you guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks. And here's the Willa.
What did she sing?
Got it.
We're all like Discord noobs, so
Yeah.
everyone's trying to figure it out. I used it for a few vocal lessons, but that's it. So I had to verify my account. I was like, oh, I haven't logged into this in like forever, because it's like standard. It's always logged in, but then we needed to verify it to hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Willa said maybe she's in here.
Nope.
No one named Willa.
Nope. It's just the four of us right now. But I got to say, it is definitely an honor, and I consider it to be a pleasure to have you guys on. Now, do you guys got the stream up playing?
Yeah, we have we have you in the stream in the right corner, and then we got ourselves on the left, so you can see.
Okay, there's.
Oh.
There she is.
Yay.
There we go. Hello and welcome in.
Hello. Thank you.
I'm going to turn mine off for just a second to see if I can't get this lined up to where. There we go. We got both of you up there. Okay. If you could turn the stream down where you have it up, because I can hear it feeding back.
Maybe get yours.
Yeah, I'll AirPod it.
Yeah.
Throw it there in the bed.
So how you doing, Willa? You finally get the Discord figured out?
Yep. Yeah. I thought I figured it out before, but nope. Thank you for waiting.
Oh, it is not a problem. Like I was telling him, it's an honor and a privilege to have you guys on. You guys are the first female artists that we've had on, so it's kind of monumental here. And Iris may not, I don't know if you remember me messaging you months ago and was asking you if you was on Twitch and if you was, yeah, and it's like it's this big circle that's come around. We went from having somebody catfishing us as you to now we have you actually on here. It's a trip. It is an actual trip.
Yeah, it was such a weird experience, to be honest, because like you weren't the first pointing it out to me, and I was like, whatever, And then more and more people started messaging me like, hey, we have Twitch like on Twitch, so it was weird. Haven't heard anything about it in a while, so I guess it went away. But from what I know is that the person just promoted my music, for my band. So he's doing a great job at that.
Yeah, I mean they didn't do anything bad. It's just they made outlandish claims. Like where I live, I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. I live right by the 500 track. I grew up around the Indianapolis 500 track, and they were claiming that you were there on pit row with, I forgot the name of the driver, but I'm like, they don't allow anybody down there on pit row. It don't matter who you are.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, I know, and I already had a bad feeling that it wasn't the real you because they were associating you with Tatiana starting a new band, and
that's weird.
They made a fake account. They made a fake account to be Tatiana, and like you was bringing Tatiana on into the stream and stuff, and I'm just like, something just ain't right. Everything is just like, it's all too good to be true. And then with the 500 thing, I was like, nah, they fake. And that's when I had reached out to you. And I just wanted to confirm.
Yeah, well, thanks for Yeah, no, I know, but like the Tatiana story is insane. You know, I wish those homes were out every Friday night, but we're not. So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, we're always crossing the same airplane paths with her,
Yeah,
right?
she's
We were in
in
North
California.
Hollywood, she was in North Hollywood, and we were in San Diego, and she was in San Diego, and we're like, all right. You were at Alcatraz, she was at, we were just like, all right, dude.
Yeah,
We're so
Uh,
close.
we've
uh,
never
now, if you
really
ladies
seen.
could, introduce yourselves.
Yeah, yeah, we'll definitely.
Yeah, okay. Then me first. I'm Mason, and I right now I play bass. That's it, right? Your turn.
My turn. Well,
Yep.
it's always vocalist last, right?
Oh goodness. Well, I'm Willa and I play guitar.
Yay, Willa.
Yeah, but I'm Iris and I scream and sing something. Depends who's listening.
Well, it is definitely good to
You
meet all
know,
three of
so
you.
only sing.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
And like, how did the three of you come together to form the
Uh,
band?
in 2020, there was a global panini. I think we all remember that. And so I was locked in my house and just like everybody. And I think Willa was hanging out with a friend of mine, and uh, we met up at like the and I just said like I think we talked about like what we listened to when we were kids, and then I was like,
Thank you
"Do
for
you play
following.
guitar?" She's like, "Yeah, always, always had a guitar," and I was like, "Oh shit." I'm like, "Well, I'm working on a project," uh, and at that point, it was with like this one of my friends in Australia who was supposed to move to LA, and it wasn't looking like it was happening because it was 2020. Um, and then I started talking to Iris after, I don't know who came first. I don't know. They both kind of came around in my life at the same time.
We were talking.
We were
Yeah,
talking,
you were
and then
practicing Willa,
yeah,
and you sent me. I remember that you sent me some videos of you
yeah,
guys jamming together. I was like, okay, cool. You know, I was still in Spoil Engine at that time. And then pandemic happened.
yeah,
Uh, and then at some point, I was sick of the pandemic, sick lockdowns here in Europe, and I was over it. So we met up in Mexico because that was one of the only countries that I was allowed to fly to and her too. And then we hung out in Mexico a few weeks and I went to the States. So that's my part. That story,
yeah.
but
It was just me, I think, trying to get together. I always wanted uh just this band to exist, pretty much. I had seen just like armies of dudes, and like particularly effeminate dudes, just killing it, for years. And I always wanted this to exist. And I never saw it exist. I saw it exist in girls with their boobs up to their necks and I with long hair, and I saw that happen, but I never saw it with people who looked like me, you know? And so I was like, I'm gonna do anything it takes, even kidnapping somebody from Europe or holding a guitarist hostage, anything it takes to to make that happen. But yeah, I guess it just came together by chance and spite and a lot of willpower and a lot of plane tickets.
not a plane ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Iris, you have just within the last year or two moved to the States.
I still have it. I'm flying up and down all the time.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's like it's not super easy to just go and live in the US, you know. So it's like visa stuff. that I'm still waiting for. But we're spending half of the year in the States, half of the year in Europe right now. So the plan is to be in the States when I legally can stay in the States and also work in the States. To live around LA, San Diego. Uh, yeah, but for now we're just flying up and down between Europe and LA.
Wow, that's a lot of flying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I got to touch a little bit on what you had said about, you always wanted this to exist, not seeing the normal glamming glitz of feminine, the feminine figure being put on display, but more of a, I can relate, you're relatable to everyone. It's like you don't have to go and put everything on display to put out good music. And it's like that's what I enjoy most is I like the rawness, the realness of especially like in videos. I don't necessarily want to see a $1 million production put on. Even though those are extremely cool, I like more of the actual experience with the band while the band's playing or just, you know, goofing off in the studio, whatever it may be. Those are the videos that get me the most. I like those the most because you get to connect more with the band.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
No.
it's really good to see all the females that are getting into metal, and the ladies they're making their presence felt, and you guys are going to be doing the same.
Yeah, I mean, we've always been here. It's just whether
Yeah.
or not people were down to listen and whether or not we had in, right? Like I've been kicking it in this scene for over a decade and uh it was always a boys club. And so I'm like, well, I'm gonna make a girls
Thank you for
you know,
following.
I'm like, well, you're fine, you guys, if you want, you know. So yeah, it's nice that it's been received so well.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you ladies are kicking doors down. You're not waiting for them to open anymore. You ladies are kicking doors down. And that's good.
yeah,
That's good to see because it's like, why limit the talent that's out there? I've never
Yeah.
gotten into like, the boys club. It's like everybody, if you put out good music, put it out. Everybody should be treated equal in that aspect because everybody loves music. I don't care who you are. Even some of the most evilest people, they love music. They might hate everything else, but they love music. And
uh,
yeah, so I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that Iris is really here because of the history with the fake one. It was just like why would she come on here and want to hang out here and talk to me about anything? And then it's like now here you are. So you got to
Yeah.
forgive me on that aspect because it's like a full circle in the catfish's face, like haha. But also, where did you ladies come up with the name Three Times Royal? I mean, obviously, three.
oh yeah. I mean, so I've I've been riding horses since I was a kid, and so I was super into horse races and horse names. And Three Times Royal is a failed racehorse. Uh, and as I was looking through like the lineage of or this one horse in particular, that name popped up, and we were looking for something that uh had like a little bit of a ring to it, that did well with like algorithms. Like if you Googled it, nothing came up, stuff like that. So you know, I sent it out to these guys and along with like a couple other names that were like whatever, but this one really stood out to all of us. We felt like we could ride it, you know, but that's where it came from. The horse died a few years ago and made like $2,000. So I hope we do better than that horse. You know?
You're gonna break the cycle of the 3 times royal
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as we can like, you know, make more than $2,000 and live for more than 15 years, we're gonna do all right.
Oh wow. Uh, what do you guys do to go about creating your music, and like where do the lyrics come from?
Which one first?
Yeah, I mean, do you know what it's like? It was a poem that Mason wrote mainly. And you sent me like a bunch of poems that you wrote in during the pandemic. And I always had like that thing, my second language. And I wrote 2 full albums in the past 2 years. So at some point I was like, I'm repeating myself. So it was really nice to, have a native speaker with a lot of life experience and a story. And then I put melody to it, but the lyrics are mainly yours.
Yeah, just a poem about life experiences, you know. That's for Do You Know What It's Like? And then with that one, it was like December of 2020. So we were pretty over it. And I just had a riff in mind and I sent the riff to Willa. And then Iris and I spent like 12 hours every single day on WhatsApp calls. Uh, like, just the computer's
I need
gonna
to get my
die.
charger.
Yeah, we
Okay.
spent like 12 hours a day on WhatsApp calls, like just working through riffs and trying to like build songs and all that stuff. And then Willa and I would get together like in my apartment or in a studio and play through the riffs, just trying to get it to work out. And Death Bell's about in a pretty similar way. That one's pretty evenly Iris and I don't know. I think I just wrote the bridge or something, but she wrote most of the lyrics. And that one came pretty fast with the riff and with the arrangement. I feel like the lyrics just fit pretty effortlessly. Yeah. But yeah, it was mainly like in the beginning just one of us coming up with a guitar part or a melody and then uh like bugging the shit out of each other on WhatsApp calls or in my apartment or in the studio until something became of it. And yeah, I mean that's how they've all come together at this
Yeah.
point.
No, we sent so many.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe this or maybe that.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was really like trying. And for me, it was I like in Spoiler Engine, I didn't write any of the songs. I wrote lyrics and I wrote vocals. Played guitar and I So I was just like, oh, coming up with riffs. That was super fun and good distraction.
Now, being that you just mentioned, playing guitar at 12, uh, how old was, well, I don't, not necessarily how old was you all, but what was it that in your young age that drove you to pursue music more and more until you knew that this is what you wanted to do?
Willa?
Well, I guess my story is a little bit different from the two of them because I have had a guitar since I was 3. My parents, we were on some family road trip and they heard me strumming a guitar and my dad was like, "Oh, she has rhythm." And so I've just had one all of my conscious life. I always kind of think that guitar picked me more than I chose it as a kid. Um, And then I did take quite a break. I pretty much put it down at the age of 16, just due to a lot of pressure I had put on myself. And also, I saw the way that a lot of female musicians, as we were talking about earlier, were being portrayed. And I was like, I don't relate. I don't want to do that. I'm not comfortable. Um, and then I met Mason, and there's the joke that Iris and Mason took me out of a 10-year retirement, guitar retirement. And I went from, and then I picked up the guitar again, and I got to be in a band that I, just like Mason said, could imagine I wanted to be in when I was in high school. This is the kind of band I wanted to listen to. I didn't want to see anything hypersexualized. And I did make I was trained like blues and country when I was a kid, so it had to make a bit of a switch. But I had these two helping me, and then I got that. And then I had the moment of like, oh, I chose guitar and guitar chose me. And now I'm ready to move forward with it and be professional.
Awesome.
Uh, I I just started to, like, my dad and my mom were punks. We'd have house shows at the house, and they started taking me to shows when I was like 7 or so, and it was a lot of like hardcore punk bands. And then when I was able to get into music by myself, like around 12, I was allowed to go to shows by myself. And what age? I think they gave me a guitar, uh, like for my birthday or something when I was like 10, right? Because my dad was like, "You just need these three chords, and you can be in any punk band." And he taught me those chords and gave me a guitar. And but I was always obsessed with the low end. Like I can play guitar all right, uh, but I just love playing bass. It's way more fun. Uh, and once I started going to shows by myself and festivals and stuff, I just got away from the hardcore scene, which is still uh, some of my favorite stuff, and went into metalcore, deathcore, like that kind of stuff. Uh, and that's like really where I found my community and got to get raised by like a bunch of metalcore, deathcore, hardcore dudes. Uh, yeah. What about you? You
What about
screaming
me?
all young and shit.
I mean, I was 14, and I think I didn't really hear rock until I was like 12. So I was super late to the party. My parents at home just listen to radio or do classical music sometimes. But yeah, I think yeah, when I was like maybe 10 or 12, I had a guitar, and then I play, and then I got into the same music as Mason and Will, early 2000s, metalcore, deathcore. So I was 14. I really started to get into that scene. It's a very specific scene, and once you're in this like wave that takes you. Uh, since then, I've been doing it, screaming, and I put the guitar down because we had so many guitars and no screamers. It's like I could do it. I could just copy it from other vocalists. It was kind of chill.
And you didn't have to lug gear around.
Yeah, true. I was like, I think I did like 2 gigs as a guitarist, and I hated it so much because I had to carry all this stuff. I was just like, this is not for me. I'm just like, oh, but and I was like, okay, singing, you get like back then as a teenager, you get all the attention, and you don't have to carry anything. So I was like, I'll be vocal. So,
Yeah, if you
so
carry
yeah,
anything, you're
that was
just carrying a
fun.
microphone.
Yeah, not even. I just used the microphone at the venue. I just show.
Yeah. I'm here.
Yeah, I used to work as a rigger, and so I know what you mean. You know, row case after row case coming off the truck, unload, unroll. Yeah, It's no
Yeah.
fun, but that was my way of staying connected with music because I knew at a young age that playing drums, I knew I wasn't going to make it in the music world, and then it's like kids come along. So realistically, in order to stay connected to the music, work shows, and
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's allowed me
I
to see
mean,
a
that's
lot of
all.
really good bands. I mean, and plus growing up, I idolized a lot of drummers. Neil Peart was always my favorite. Like, who was your guys' inspirations musically that you kind of like followed and they drove you to be where you're at now musically?
Well,
Oh, why did you have to do that to me? My brain just blanked out. But the first, I would say as a kid, BB King was the first that really that like made me want to keep going. There was just something about watching him play guitar and listening to him that really I think we've all felt it when you listen to music. You just kind of get something, it's like you just get warm. It's so weird to say, but it just like filled me uh filled me with joy. So I would say BB King.
Yeah, you can feel his playing and his singing. It's like, it's real life, and he
Yeah, he's
expresses
a
that
very
very well.
he's a very powerful singer and he's an extraordinary guitar player.
uh, for me, it was my dad had given me an Agent Orange album, and I know Agent Orange has had like 10 bassists across their career, but every single one of them just absolutely slays. And then so is any one of the bassists from Agent Orange, particularly one whose first name is John, but I can't remember his last name. And then Tony Shanahan, which is Patti Smith's bassist, just absolutely slays. Um, and Jaime from Pierce the Veil, right? I grew up in San Diego and saw their career take off, and he always was. He was a guitarist for like a hardcore band in San Diego, and became a bassist and just absolutely killed it. And I was like, oh my god, like I just anything that he played or any one of those bassists played, I was just like, how do I make those? Those guys just killed it. I wish I could say like Kim Deal or something, but I can't. I wish I had like rad ass chases to put center, but we're for them to. There's been a few, but not in the hard scene. So waiting, I'm waiting. I need Gen Z to step up with us. you know, who's gonna inspire you?
I don't know. I listened to stuff before I just right before I went into metal. A lot of Haley Wilson, honestly. Uh, but like right after that, it was like Oliver Sykes, and still Mitch Lucker. So I went from like I basically went from like listening to the Pussycat Dolls to uh, pretty fun. So it was the same Mitch Lucker.
Mitch, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big switch. Definitely a big switch.
Yeah, it was fun for my parents. They were like, "What's happening?"
Are you a devil worshiper? What's going on?
Yeah, no.
I'm
You a
imagining
gothic?
that.
But
Are you a gothic?
yeah, yeah, no. They're super chill with it now, but it's like yeah.
Uh, another another question, like these two new singles that you put out, are they the two new singles early releases for an album? or are these just singles and you're just currently working everything out and putting music out there and then are going to work on an album?
The last thing. So we just have a few singles uh that we want to put out. So this is basically the music that we wrote during it. And it takes some time to get into the Spotify algorithm. that shit. So we have a few singles that are all within the same theme, say same style, same yeah, same thing. But we want to work on a brand new album. Dropped all of them. So what we are actually now songs. So we have like 20 unfinished demos, maybe some of that.
So
But,
you've got
but
plenty
yeah,
to work with
no, we
and just gonna basically go back over those and fine tooth them and put you an album together.
brand new stuff. So I think
All
we're
brand
all
new.
like
Right on.
different place right now, and we write songs pretty quick. I feel like if I lock myself up in my house with my computer for a week, I'll have three songs. Then we could keep working on it together pretty quick. So I'm not worried about writing, and I got these two American lyrics. Uh, so yeah, I think the writing process is not gonna be a it's more get get the ball rolling,
Yeah,
basically.
some traction
Yeah.
and yeah, work on the album. Or work on because I feel like there's like the song part of the album, but then there's like putting an album together, which is like the songs almost become secondary the closer you get to album release, right? Got like 6 months of just prepping artwork and videos and photo shoots and uh
Yeah.
all that crazy stuff just to drop it. So I'm glad we've already put a lot of footwork in to uh, get a little bit of a head start on that, you know?
Now, are you ladies independent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now we are, and we get emails from like small labels now who are willing to work with us, but we're gonna wait to like even consider anything.
Right.
Visa thing out for me, because I have my weekend and play in the US and in Europe. It's whole different. Now we have to fly to Europe to play. But we'll see, if there's like a super cool label plus, yeah, why not? We're open to
Yeah.
it.
There's gonna have to be somebody real charming.
Yeah.
Real charming and with the right contract. And definitely
Yeah.
Mhm.
definitely no matter what you do, always retain all rights over all your music. Don't ever let them have that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think record labels are starting to catch up to that too, though,
Yeah.
you know?
There's a lot of bands out there that, of course they're older bands, but they literally don't really have rights to all their stuff that made them, you know, huge. And it's sad. And it's like, these labels, they don't create that. They don't put in the work. It's not their blood, sweat, and tears. It's not their heart and passion that's in that. It's the artist. And I just feel like, and that's something I encourage any independent to do is if you ever do sign with the label, retain rights to all your music. Don't ever let it go. Uh, Another question now outside of music, what are some of your interests that you do to unwind when you're not rehearsing, recording, performing?
Um, well, my favorite thing in the world to do is to hang out with dogs. That's what I do to unwind. But also, I would say just because I also do, I'm a hairstylist as well. So sometimes my time is double booked. So the best thing for me to do is just to come home, watch Bob's Burgers, and snuggle with my roommate's dog. That is my absolute favorite thing to do.
That's the shit.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Uh, unwind. I mean, like I said, I've been horseback riding since I was a kid, so uh, I am just a long blonde-haired horseback rider at heart, just a horse girl. So yeah, like go hang out with ponies. Just love hanging out with ponies a lot. I like to play video games, and then I have a dog, so I take him for adventures. And then I hang out with Willa, and Iris. Those are my main hobbies of my life. Yeah.
Those are my two friends.
Yeah.
Uh,
How do you unwind?
I don't know.
She's
I
pretty
don't know.
wound up,
Yeah,
actually.
I'm always like my brain never stops. I just wake up and I'm just like, what is for today? You know, maybe that's super European. I don't know, but we always need to have a goal. It's a goal, and like fun is not a big part of our culture. It's different than states. I used to party a lot, but I don't really do that anymore. Have you seen me do anything outside of music?
Sometimes I like drag you on hikes with the dog.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
And
it
I
actually,
complain
yeah, she
on the way.
complains, but it does make her feel better.
I've seen a
So
little bit of
Iris
that
is,
on Instagram.
yeah. So Iris's tentative hobby is me forcing walks with my dog, and she loves it. She hates.
Yes, yes. Crazy. Like I have to be productive. I have to be productive like
Yeah,
all day, and I still have that thing going. The exam.
Yeah, I do notice that you put out a lot of cover material on Instagram. It's like you're constantly working, and I was curious if you ever took a break because some people don't. It's like they may go from doing what they do for a living to doing something that's just like it, but just a little different variant, or exploring with something completely different, but all related to what they do for a living. And it's kind of like that's what I see you do. You're nonstop. I don't know.
Yeah, it's all connected to music. So yeah, definitely. Like I did edit for a music video, and I did. How long did that cost me?
how long
Like
did it take? Like
mhm.
a month, if because you were being slow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So then I edit for a few hours, and then I do vocal lessons because that's like my main thing. Doing is giving vocal lessons to people to teach them how to yell properly without blowing their vocal cords out. And then I'll just watch some mixing tutorial or whatever to upgrade my skills a little bit, like writing and mixing, and then I'll write something. Yeah, 20 days, 5, and we hang out.
Yeah. Too European to unwind, but it's
Yeah.
great.
Too European to unwind. Yeah, you need to make a little funny parody type song about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Will and I just on the couch and Iris buzzing around.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
know, we're from California, so there's like 30 hours in a day, and most of them
Yeah.
are just for hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's built into as a Californian, it's built into
Yeah.
your day that you must at least lay down for like 3 hours outside of sleep time. Be
Yeah.
lazy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I got one more for you, and then we'll take some. I've seen we've got some questions in the chat. Uh, What was it like playing your guys' first show? Because I seen some of the video from that, and I was like, hell yeah. And I did notice a trending theme, Iris. I think you probably carried this over to where after you perform, you get a picture of the band with all the fans behind.
Yeah.
I enjoy seeing those, and on all of your faces, I could see that you absolutely loved it. So, what was it like going out there your first time performing together?
I was incredibly nervous. This had been the first time I had played a show since I was a teenager. So I was shaking. But once we kind of got past that first song, it was just really incredible. I mean, this is something we've been working on together for 2 years. These are two of my closest friends. I'd also never seen Iris perform, funny enough, like at least in person. So there was a lot to take in. And by the end of it all, it was just a really beautiful experience. And it made me want to do more. Like, I'm no longer nervous to play shows. I just want to play shows.
Yeah, I'm used to being behind the stage or in the sound booth uh and like played a show here and there, but not where, like it's uh it's music that like we wrote. Um and I don't really get nervous in front of people. Like I was also a theater kid. Uh so I've been in front of large crowds and that's like whatever, but it was just like so stoked that we could play the songs. For some reason I was thinking, even though we've been playing these songs for like over a year now, I'm like, what if I just don't remember how? What if they don't exist in my brain anymore? But the sound was super killer. You know, I like the Belgian scene is so awesome, such a cool community, super supportive, uh, super amped. Lights were killer. The bands we performed with were like homies. So, it was just like uh felt like a great big extended family, and I felt really held in the space. And yeah, I'm super stoked to do it again and with more production and more excitement and bigger, whatever, just let's just go really big now.
And Iris, I know you've had extensive touring with Spoil Engine, but what was it like? Because I could see that it was like you was the more heavier element, in my opinion, in Spoil Engine. And
The heavier element?
yeah,
Oh, vocal wise.
You were just weighed the most, yeah.
yeah. Oh Lord.
Sorry, let me translate that for you.
Yeah, it's like your vocals, it's like you wanted to be heavier sounding than what it was that seemed to be coming out in Spoil Engine. And especially after watching a lot of your some of your TikToks and your Instagram videos. And it's like now you've been unleashed. And do you have, like, I don't know what your creative freedom was in Spoil Engine, if it was a guided direction from, whoever has that control. As some bands do, it's like, no, I don't want to do this sound.
Yeah.
I want this.
I think it was more like the Portland very guitar driven. So there's not a lot of space for vocals or crazy vocal stuff, while Three Times Royal songs had lots of vocals. We sometimes even build a song from samples up and then instead of like starting with a riff. So I think it's two things. It's like less bar slash riff heavy the music that we want to make. Um, and we listen to the same kind of music with the Spoiled guys. They listen to Terra, Slayer, the old school stuff. So that was sometimes a little bit of like, does it fit together? I want to right there, left. You always have to compromise
Right.
stuff. But I had creative freedom, but I knew I wanted something more style that I'm doing now.
And I can hear the difference vocally from, it's like I said, you've been unleashed now. Now you can just
Ye-
let it go. And
Yeah,
I like both singles I've heard. I like them both. And I was impressed. And of course, I didn't know you guys had been playing this for, as long as you have and are just now putting music out. So that's all new to me. But I'm definitely excited to see what you put out in the future. And I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of bangers off of it. And we're more than happy to play your guys' music here and give people who haven't been exposed to it, let them hear it, share that. And
yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. That's amazing.
and especially being that you're independents, I fully like my original intention when I started this channel was I wanted to be an independent radio station to where it featured nothing but independent artists because they don't get the recognition, the airplay that I feel they deserve. Because even in different genres, like going into rap, like with Ryan Upchurch, he does a little bit of everything. And you have those few independents that really blow up real quick, but in the metal scene it's a little bit harder because there's so many bands out there. And I think the thing that sets you guys apart is probably the chemistry that you have together. And it's got a good sound, and I'm looking forward to what you come out with next. And I do believe we got some questions from chat. Mama?
There's a couple. But it's more of like people liking how the name came about. And somebody had said that they do see metalcore being prominent with all of you, and wanted Iris to know that they're a huge fan of your motionless and white audios in your TikTok. And
Thank you.
then oh, and then a question for Iris. Um since I've been off and on singing recreationally, when you do cover clips on TikTok like Flyleafs, I'm so sick, is going from soft to scream really difficult?
Uh, it's more like for me, it's more like a light switch. It's like an on off. So the hardest part for people to learn to have that front heavy sound, just like at their uh. But if you have that, it gets really easy. So it's your way to that point. That's hard. Once you have it, have it.
Cool.
And that'll lead me to another question. What do you guys do for warm-ups before a show?
I just do
Hug.
scales.
Yeah.
Scale.
Yeah.
Yeah, scales while group hugging,
Sorry.
it truly prepares you. No, I do like a very basic kind of run up and down the neck and then scale work and then I hug them individually.
Yeah. Yeah. Just warm up my right hand, right? Because that one takes a big beating. I've got a really thick gauge on the top string of my bass, and if my wrist is cold or whatever, like, oh man, does it hurt? So just that, because his hand always behaves so far. But this one hurts. You just
Run on stage.
you run around.
Yeah, no, it depends on like if we would go myself, just to warm up and cool down. But if it's just a one-off show, I've been doing it for long enough to just start. But I know, the opinions different. I know a lot of singers who just go on hold and they're fine. I also know a lot of good singers who really need to have a routine before they hit the stage to just feel comfortable. So it depends. I usually don't do a lot. I have to stretch my back, or I just get, then I pull my neck. Like this for 2 days. Yeah. I think
You're
that's
too
more important.
tall.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm too
so
tall.
lanky.
Yeah.
So lanky.
Well, I can tell you, someone with back issues, yeah, you definitely got to look after that back. Because if
Headbanging.
you don't treat it right, it'll come
And
back to haunt you. Like I think headbanging, thrashing that head, because my first exposure to anything heavy when I was young was back in '82 when I got to see Slayer on their debut album, Show No Mercy. And,
Oh, that's cool.
that's just fast speed and aggression. And it was like, you're out there and it's like you're trying to make that hair whip as fast as you can. And it's like, except for back then, it was a whole lot of just the head. You wasn't moving the body and kind of like stop jerking and letting the hair give the effect. It was you was actually doing it. And I feel like some of that's come back to haunt me, but I don't regret it.
yeah, it's definitely a sport. Headbanging is a
Yeah.
sport.
Well, I have one of those massage guns for after work, and I brought it to the Netherlands. So there were a few days of just us massage
Massage
gunning
gun.
each
Yeah.
other.
Hey, it's definitely understandable. I should have did warm-ups when I was young before I went to shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Now,
mean, I remember going. Go for it. Go for it.
oh no, go ahead.
Oh, just like being a kid and going to shows and everyone stretching before getting in the pit, especially hardcore shows where they're doing like the big kicks, like pinwheel kicks, and everyone was just beforehand, like
Now, your first show, it was sold out. How did that make you feel to know that your very first show was sold out?
hella exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yes.
couldn't have
I
done
think
it without. Couldn't have done it without Mantos. What I was gonna say, you know. But it was awesome. I think Bart came up to us like I don't know, like half an hour before the show and was like, dude, it's sold out. And we were like, what the fuck? Like uh
Yeah.
but
They had to turn like 40 people away at the door. So that was, they went kind of over cap. Like, no, we not safe anymore.
damn
But
fire
yeah,
department.
good point.
Yeah.
I have a vocal lesson in 5 minutes. So
Okay.
that's
Well, I definitely
you.
appreciate you ladies coming on. Like I said, it's an
Yeah.
honor, a pleasure, and a privilege to have you on here. It's good to see ladies in the metal scene because there's just so much talent for so many years that has just been pushed aside, not given the recognition and the credit that was due. Because there's a lot of former ladies that believe as you that you don't have to be hypersexual to be good at making music. And that's what people need to recognize. Not everything needs to be sexualized. It's music, it's not porn.
yeah.
And it,
Yeah.
it is good to see you ladies out there doing your thing. I think Mama may reach out to you afterwards via
Will.
email.
Yeah, I had really quick if we could.
Yes.
Somebody wanted to know what kind of guitar, amps, strings, and tuning you guys use, as well as
Uh,
how hard it is to find left-handed guitars.
oh, well, it's
Fucking
difficult.
hard, man.
So hard. Uh, so I use, here we go. These are the strings I
Running,
use.
you're running
The
13 to 56, right?
No, 12 to 56. The not even
Oh,
Slinky Ernie Ball. Right now, this is an Epiphone Les Paul. This is my current baby. I do also have a Stratocaster Fender, but that one's a little more blues based. And yeah, that's it for guitar stuff. But finding left-handed guitars is a battle. It is. It is hard. It is not fun being left-handed sometimes. It's more of like a fun fact I get to throw out, and then I get to spend more money on.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then
I
the
have
final one was if you guys were playing shows and where, or any shows now or in the future.
Yeah, that was the one I had. Like, is there any shows lined up here in the States for maybe coming in 2023 or local
maybe
shows?
2024 for the States.
I don't know.
You
Depends
know?
when my visa comes
Yeah.
in, you know. So like, I feel like we have the connections here and in States. Just put something on real quick. Uh, but we don't have like. Um, I also think like if it makes more sense to full album and then do a tour than like try to tour the States with like so. Uh, I think as soon as allow states in California drop an album and then hopefully- and then fly to my friends or people. That's what I really liked the last, and we just do it together. You know, that's
Okay. Well, I definitely hope you're able to get all that stuff worked out because I'd like to see you ladies actually perform live sometime.
Yeah.
That would be an extra treat, and possibly maybe
Come to
speak
the
to you
Midwest.
after the show and do a little quick interview and then let you ladies go rest because I know performing takes it out of you and the lights, all that. But again, I got to thank you so much for coming on, taking this time to share with the community here on WKoG Radio. And like I said, I believe Mama's going to be reaching out to you again after the
Yeah,
interview.
I'll be sending over an email here in probably about a half hour.
Okay.
And
cool.
Yeah.
and you ladies are welcome on anytime. If you have any new music that's coming out, let us know. We'll be sure to keep an eye out for it ourselves. But if there's something that, you can let us know in advance so we can like do a little build up and promote it so when it does get released, we can play the hell out of it for y'all.
Sweet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
so much
much.
for having us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
thank you
it's
guys
been a
for coming
pleasure.
on.
It's been a pleasure and an honor. And Monumental, it's good to have ladies that represent the metal community come on, and it just goes to show some of these fellas better watch it because you ladies are going to end up taking over.
That's the plan.
Well,
Thanks. Glad
yeah.
it has
Well,
not done.
yeah. Well, thank you for having us, and we'll put the Midwest on the tour schedule when we have it.
Yeah.
Right on, right on. Well, thanks again, ladies. I'll let you get about taking care of your business. I know you're busy. Thanks again.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
We'll
and
talk to you guys soon.
As we say, stay frosty and keep it metal.
I love
Could I
it.
get you ladies to do one thing? Just one thing.
Sure.
And Iris and Mason, you might need to move closer so it picks up all the audio. Would I be able to get you guys to say your names and then the name of the band and say you're listening to WKoG radio?
Yeah.
Yeah. KOG. All right, we got this. Go, Willa.
Hi, my name is Willa.
I'm Mason,
And I'm Iris.
and we're from Three Times Royal, and you're listening to and watching WKOG Metal Radio.
Thank you, ladies. That's awesome. And thanks again. You ladies have a wonderful and fabulous day. Stay frosty and keep it metal.
Thank you. Have a
Hell
good
yeah.
day.
Thank you for doing.
Alrighty, everybody. Three Times Royal. That was awesome to have them ladies on here. I consider that an absolute honor having them on here. Monumental being the first all-lady metal band. And not joking, you fellas out there in the metal business, y'all better mind your P's and Q's or you're gonna be playing second fiddle, all of you. We're gonna play their first video release. This is Three Times Royal. Do you know what it's like?